work with us to get a clear knowledge of what product they are having, what the pricing will be. We will inform our members on what is available where, because we have a platform. We have the premise platform that is developed by Petron, both to monitor petroleum products movement and also to protect the loading of product from one location to the other. So the policy we will expect Dangote or even NNPC or any refinery to work with us is, first of all, let us have consistent meetings and let the pricing be what will be transparent and not be competitive. That's all that we need. And once we get this program properly set, we should be able to load our products, the batch to load our products within a very short time after we pay. Yeah. So those are the things that can help us to make the business much better. Because actually in the petroleum sector, we are not looking for such a very high profit margin. It is just a minimal profit margin that depends on turnover. So we need to be able to be sure. That's why we also laugh when we hear subjects like hoarding of fuel. There's no petrol member anywhere in this country that will hoard product, because we want and the return back to market by again.
All right. Do we have Dr. Billy there? All right, Dr. Billy, let's talk about the role of, the federal government. We know that the president is the minister for petroleum, and there seems to be a bit of, quiet from the presidency. But then, what do you think federal government can play? What role do you think they can play when it comes to the transitioning of this relationship between Dangote Refinery, independent marketers, and the NNPCL to make Nigeria's life that is currently really difficult easy?
Well, in my opinion, the president, who is dubbed as the Minister of Petroleum, and his ministers of state should play very critical in ensuring that the business is very stable and is efficient. How do we want them to operate? Most of the things that is the policies of the real are shrouded in too much secrecy, and that is a problem, because once there is no clearly defined information strategy, communication center, the chances of just speculations and projections, based on armchair analysis, will have the swing of the day. And that is not in any way helping this country to do the right things. We need to have prices of petroleum products actually, premised on actual expenses and margins project. The PIA clearly gives us an idea of how the profits of a product should. We need the government to make all those policies very important. We need them to reach out to ensure that the refineries owned by the government are working. Dangote Refinery is a private concern, and it is there for profit. It's not there as a charity. So you cannot actually treat Dangote's refinery as the final bus stop of how Nigerians will be able to get solution. The refinery is sited in an export-free zone. So that clearly tells you that most of the products may end up being exported legally, because that is what the registration of Dangote Refinery Limited is all about. It is an export refinery. And so we need to know that whatever that we are getting from them is to the benefit of Nigeria. And that is why we advocated that these refineries should buy crude oil in Nigerian naira. So that already domesticates the process. And then we can be able to ask for Dangote to focus on domestic consumption. So the government also needs to make that very clear, that when we sell in Nigerian naira, and not that in any way is going to be but it will stabilize also the Nigerian naira, because the amount of money we're looking to pay for imported petroleum product will now be arrested. And we don't need to, worry a foreign reserve that kind of money. So that in itself is going to grow the economy in leaps and bounds. So the government's policies should be very transparent and strategic and should go towards ensuring that we have answers. Efficient supply of petroleum products, pricing that is affordable so that the Nigerian buyers can buy.
All right, thank you for talking about transparency and efficiency there and the expected, definitely Nigerians. Now, what should Nigerians expect? Now that crude is being sold in Naira, Nigerians are already expecting lower prices, but should they keep their expectations high and really expect that they would see lower prices? Should they keep their expectations high, that they would see more fuel production? In your experience so far, should they keep their expectations high based on the capacity of Dangote? Do you think it could supply Nigeria petrol adequately with a good price that would, see our economy at least get to a certain level of rebuild? What should Nigerians expect?
Well, I earlier stated that Dangote Refinery Limited is a private enterprise that to do business and also make profit. Charity organization. So it will be very, very fair for us to expect that we will buy crude oil and refine the product, sell it at the price that it will be a loss. As crude oil to Dangote is concerned, we have to know that at Nigerian rates, because we are not sure what is the content of the policy, which is the concern we have, that we should have these informations, in the public domain, because this is something that impacts the life of 200 million plus people daily. So we need to have these policies clearly defined, and we should be able to know the content. So Nigeria's expectation that being product and crude oil being sold in Nigerian naira will reduce price, I will encourage them to keep that hope alive. However, whether that will be the case immediately now or to be in the coming weeks is what we need to wait and see to happen when we have all the relevant and right information. Yeah,
I mean, that is really interesting to hear. But then, Doctor, apart from, what Nigerians' expectations are, I want to hear what your expectation are, when it comes to the fact that you are a stakeholder on this. What are your expectations for the future of the Nigerian petroleum industry, given that the Dangote Refinery and the NNPCL are coming together to hopefully make life easy for Nigerians? And of course, what would it be for the independent marketers?
Well, as a Nigerian, I'm very proud. Dangote walked talk. It has taken, but it came to pass that a Nigerian entrepreneur of his thought and age and description made history to bring in one single train refinery of that capacity, 650,000 barrels a day refinery. It is something that Africa need to be proud of, Nigeria need to be proud of, and I certainly am very proud of that. But having said that, is that the industry should be regulated efficiently by NMDPRO. There should be a field for all of us. Of the industry. Even Petron can set up a limited liability company that can import petroleum products to trade with our members and non-members. So that makes quite a lot of difference in how we should be able to transact in this sector. Other than that, I will expect, that we should be able to enjoy the fact that we're an oil and gas producing country, and we should enjoy all the benefits. That's why I also pay for the gas energy transition the gas energy transition. That's LPG-fired power motors, CNG-fired motors, LNG-fired motors, and we should be able to take that very seriously to make sure that we have alternative fuel and provide a means by which Nigerians could be able to do their businesses at an affordable rate. Because clearly, transportation, logistics is a component in every, even in health, as low as that, it affects it. So my expectation is that we should be able to run this industry to the benefit of Nigerians, not but at the that should be able to keep our businesses afloat.
Nigerians. Thank you so much, Dr. Billy Gills-Harry. Of course, he is the National President, Petroleum Products and Outlets Owners Association of Nigeria. Appreciate you sharing your time with us this morning. All right. Also, we had, a pleasure of talking via phone line to Alhaji Abubakar Mai-Gandi, who is the president of Independent, that's the national president, Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN. But then, yes, because of connection, we couldn't get back with him. But then, yeah, thank you so much for staying with us throughout this conversation. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll dive into the front pages of the national dailies. Stay with us.
Dear valued customers, Media Trust Group, publishers of Daily Trust, Trust TV, Trust Radio, Armenia, and Digital Trust, extends heartfelt gratitude for your unwavering support and loyalty. Your consistent patronage of our titles has been invaluable, and we trust that our partnership has yielded mutually beneficial results for your brands, businesses, and services. As we celebrate Customer Service Week, we reaffirm our commitment to delivering exceptional service and enhancing your experience with us. Thank you for your trust and loyalty. We wish you a productive and fulfilling week.
Are you interested in the latest news and developments in Nigerian politics, policy, governance, and other critical national issues? Look no further than Daily Politics on Trust TV. Our panel of experts and key people in government provide in-depth analysis and commentary on the biggest stories in Nigerian politics.
And 33.3 million Nigerians are suffering from multidimensional poverty. It's a much calmer Buhari than the Buhari who was in the khaki uniform.
Naira to Naira X rate is higher. The Naira is higher than dollar exchange rate. So you want to...
Since central bank governor you're doing, you must do it fast. The number of casualties we have had, we shouldn't have had. Security, as far as Nigeria is concerned, we have wronged.
From the inner workings of government to the latest on legislation, rule of law, implementation, and democracy, we have you covered. Don't miss out on the latest political news and discussion. Tune in to Daily Politics, weekdays on Trust TV, your source for reliable and unbiased coverage of Nigerian.
But in a situation where you find that they look like the same,
not necessarily tribal or regional.
But I have said that.
Welcome. Local government secretariats burnt. Tinubu directs IGP to restore order. My meekness, not weakness. That's according to the River State Governor, Siminalayi Fubara. You find that on page 4. Below that story, we have, we are taking steps to address insecurity, disunity in the North. That's according to the ACF. You find that on page 8. Cholera kills persons in Kano. Sad situation there. FCT primary school teachers suspend their strike. Beside this, we see the pictorial of, the disaster that is happening, the war happening, going on between Gaza and Israel. And this is Khan Yunis in Gaza, destroyed buildings in Khan Yunis in the southern Gaza Strip on the first anniversary of the ongoing war in Palestinian territory between Israel and Hamas. It's just like, some of the strongest leaders in the world are coming out to say that peace is the right way, because Right now that we need more resources, there is more war and resources. Now, below that, we see Hajj fare to hit 10 million naira as federal government stops subsidy. Interesting. It's just that Nigerians cannot go to Hajj because of the exchange rate. 10 million, it is too much. Too much. This, last year or this year early was the highest that Nigerians paid, which was about 4 to 5, 6 million. Really sad situation there. Below that is the Dangote refinery. Nigerians may pay more for petrol as NNPC quits middleman role. Riders are saying the Middle East tension to spark higher fuel costs. Now, this is talking about what is happening between the Israel, Hamas, Gaza, Lebanon, and Palestine, of course, and Iran. But then away from that also, it says 400,000 BPD for Dangote as Naira for crude deals begin. Honestly, all of this is just on paper until Nigerians benefit from it. It's not a great deal. So if they want us to, benefit, then it should be that way. Now, below the headlines there, we see Sharia Council defends Senator Buba against politically motivated attacks. Find out on page 8, bandits kill 8 Zamfara community guards. Tinubu released 1,200 fertilizers bag to each senator, 600 to reps. Now, these are some of the stories that you find on Daily Trust paper today.
All right, moving Guardian. We're kicking off with River State. It says state of emergency stalk rivers as political thugs attack councils. Now we can see the pictures of, people, stakeholders there. Now we also have down, anti-graft war won't be won by technicalities, declares Tinubu. Worries over petrol prices as Tinubu deregulates downstream sector. And Kekareku says 80% of Africans unhappy with delivery of democratic rule, says Kekareku. Still on The Guardian, NAFDAC champions food labeling standards as workers commence indefinite strike. And police arrest Arebe Shola's loyalists for accusing Oyetola of using palliative rice as birthday gift.
Interesting.
And still there we have reviving comatose technical education beyond enrollment drive. Education is not about grammar. All right, now, court reduces bail of 5 bad governance protesters to 5 million naira each. Now, these are the stories you could get from the front page of Vanguard and in Guardian, in Guardian newspaper. These are stories you would get on The Guardian.
Now, she was quick to call Vanguard because she could not wait to get to that. But yeah, top of the page there we see federal government NNPCL Dangote plan changes in petrol lifting. That's according to investigation on health and malnutrition. Federal government and CAN and also the West Bank or the World Bank rather unite to save 11 million children. Court reduces bail to 5 million naira for the hashtag #NBAD governance protesters each. Edo Gilbert, PDP accuses INEC of doctoring beavers and concealing rigging. Headquarters set ablaze and chairman chased out as Tinubu directs police to provide local government officers security. This major story you find on page 5. Autonomy, don't give workers salary to local governments. That is according to below that on sports we see CAF Confederation Cup, Ayimba gets tough Egyptian draw, and Tinubu committed to food security. That's according to the Vice President. Now we have Dr. Theophilus Abba, the Program Director of Daily Trust Foundation, joining us virtually to dissect the front pages of the national dailies. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning.
For joining us. It saddens me a bit that you're not here physically, but at least you get to join us virtually. Now, Doctor, let's talk about Rivers State crisis and escalating even after the election. We saw how the happened, and then now even after the election, there is still a lot of tension. What is your take on that?
Well, it's quite unfortunate that this is happening in Rivers again. If you recall, it was not only Rivers State. It was not only Rivers State that we had elections on Saturday. There was local government elections in Benue State, there was a local government election in, I think, in Akwa Ibom State, and then one or two other states. So why should that of Rivers State lead to this kind of violence? It's quite unfortunate. But if you look at the sequence of events, the held, those who won were sworn in, but then suddenly the IG of police withdrew security men from the local government headquarters. You know, if you remember, in the last 3 months, we've had security men at the local government headquarters because of the crisis, political crisis in the state, and then there was violence. So I'm feeling that, you see, it's good that the president has already intervened, but the police should serve all Nigerians or not some interest in this country. We should see the police serving everyone. Now, if there was an election and there were indications that there could be violence, then the police ought not to have withdrawn its men from the headquarters until there was stability. So I'm thinking that, you see, the police must demonstrate that, look, police, not some interest. It's very unfortunate that this is happening in Rivers again, because we were thinking that after over a year, there should be a measure of stability in Rivers State. You know, there have been interventions by the federal government, by the president on the crisis between Wike and the people of Rivers State. And this one must be allowed to enjoy peace.
All right, Dr. Theophilus, thank you once again for joining us. Now, still on election matters, in Edo State, PDP accuses INEC of doctoring beavers, concealing rigging. It's not the first time we're seeing issues with beavers and, you know, parties coming out and talking about rigging here and there. So what's your thought on this PDP's accusation to INEC of doctoring beavers and concealing rigging? What's your take on, you know, all of that?
Now, the problem with the election that took place in Edo State, like some other elections that have taken place, you know, the election was that